Ethical Perspectives on the News is produced by the Interreligious Council of Linn County, which is solely responsible for its content. The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of KCRG TV9.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on Ethical Perspectives. My name is Beth Parker, and I'm going to be your host. Our topic this evening is men as leaders in 2021. Why this topic? Well, as our world gets smaller and technology brings us closer, it's important to understand the decision makers and the policy shapers who wield so much sway in the formation of our collective future. Let's talk to three young men, decision makers and policy shapers who will share their thoughts with us. Go ahead, Brandon, you start. So an introduction, just who you are and why you're joining us today.
All right, great. My name is Brandon Jackson. I'm the founder of Dream Sports nonprofit youth organization, and also currently the president of African American Professional Group. The reason why I'm joining, I think it's a great conversation and topic, especially to talk about leaders in the community and leaders just nationwide and the differences and the diversity and things like that. So it's a great issue, and it's a topic that, needs to be brought to the table as well.
Anthony, Brett?
Yeah, sure. Anthony Arrington, founder and managing partner at TopRank, professional executive search firm. I'm a diversity consulting firm here in town, and happy to be here. Happy to join these two gentlemen on the call, as well as you, Beth. And I think, I'm here and interested to hear perspectives and provide mine on the topics of brotherhood and manhood and how we can function and move forward together and help each other. So looking forward to the conversation.
Hi, I'm Brett. I'm just a construction worker from Iowa. I got asked to do this, and it would be nice to get some different perspectives from different, areas of the city, and just to, like he said, get some perspective on manhood and the challenges and advantages and disadvantages of being a leader in the community and in the country.
So let's start with an easy one. Who are your role models and why?
Lots of them.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll go ahead and start. I looked up to quite a few people growing up, quite a few male figures that's been involved in my life and seeing things on the positive side of what they have got done and accomplished and how they affected my life. But my biggest role model probably would be my grandma. She, from her raising plenty of kids in the neighborhood and starting her own free clothing, I think kind of shaped me to be the man who I am today and what I do in the community and the service that I serve. So that's probably my biggest role model.
Yeah, for me, sorry, I'll go. Yeah, for me, lots of them, but locally, I probably have to say my uncle Diedrich Doolin. I've watched Diedrich fight for the rights of underserved populations, particularly African Americans in this community, most of my life growing up. It's kind of, I didn't really understand it at my young age. I didn't really get it. Even in my 20s, when I was in college and doing a report on him, I still remember him telling me stories about our community growing up and some of the challenges he had, and just listening to those stories and trying to understand how to be a better person. I think he continues to have a big impact in my life. I've constantly looked up to him, and even though I probably fall short of his grace, he's certainly a mentor to me.
Brett.
For me, it had one of my best male figures would be my grandpa. He kept the family together. He kept everybody in line. Also, my mom was definitely, she raised 4 children, a single mom. It wasn't always easy, but she always made it happen. And her work ethic and her overall perspective on life really helped shape, who I am today. And as far as, my work ethic and my morals and standards. So yeah, I definitely have to say my mom would be, my biggest role model.
Thank you. That's good to hear. And it's really interesting to me that a lot of your role models are within the family. They're not necessarily credentialed or nationally known figures. That's interesting. Let's talk about this. Is there a biological or cultural or physiological reason for the dominant male image that we all carry? Is it historical? Is it necessary? Is it still relevant in our current culture?
I think it's absolutely historical. Since they've been keeping records, it's always been, males are always in that authority figure, and females have taken more of a back seat. I feel like it's kind of changing around now. It's you see a lot more females in authority figures, and I personally welcome it. I think, if history keeps repeating itself, we're not going to be in a good place. So maybe it's time for a little bit of a change.
Wow.
Yeah, it's interesting, particularly all three of us who grew up, in single parent homes, like without dads in the home. I think I heard you say you, Scott, grew up as, to ask three men who've grown up without fathers in the home what manhood is like. I could probably tell you a lot of things about my mother that's manhood like.
Right.
But yes, it's been traditional. I mean, in all communities, in all history, men have always been perceived as the dominant figure in the household. I mean, whether that's fair or not is another conversation to have. Because I would, again, growing up with a single parent, a mother, I would argue against that. But there's always something about strength, about physical power, and it's been a traditional thing, whether right or wrong.
I would definitely agree and say it's definitely historical. Ever since the beginning of time, definitely seeing male figures be the leaders. I think it's just the look of strength or dominance that probably would suggest the reason why people think, males should be the leaders. But as we progress within time, we see more females step up and we see more opportunities for females. I think there's quite a few people, especially as generation changes, that would like to see change or do something different. I feel like something's been going on for so long and nothing really great has came out of it. So how bad is going to hurt to see a different perspective on things? And that even goes as far as women it's just diversity as far as women, as far as different cultures. People would like to see what's the best possible answer. And I think, that's the reason why you're seeing change now.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear that. And I think at the end, we're going to come to the point where we realize no matter if we give you a hard time, we still love you and we still need you. And it's going to be a matter of collaboration. So let me ask you this. There was a book that was written called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, or to phrase it, and this was a while ago, to phrase it differently, if men and women have different perspectives concerning leadership and communication, how do we bridge those gaps? How do we bridge those gaps in the name of collaboration and cooperation on the way to win-win relationships?
Me personally, go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir. Yep.
Me personally, I think we should take the money worth out of leadership. I think leadership should be a volunteer situation, and take the money completely out of the equation. Because anytime you get money involved with just about anything, somebody's going to try to get a better deal, or somebody's going to try to, if you take money out of the whole situation and it's a volunteer base, then you got people in there that are passionate about what they're doing. And it might make a world of difference, as opposed to having somebody who's getting paid to make decisions that can be persuaded one way or another with monetary value. So, that's just my perspective on it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you say that. Money makes the world go round, right? Like if you could take money, people say when you take money out of the mix, all of a sudden it's socialism and all this other stuff, right? But to your point, let's create equity, and I think part of that as leaders in organizations, particularly men, is and I say this about cultures, about gender, about geographic differences. You have to be willing to honestly recognize those differences and being able to be culturally aware, right? None of us are culturally competent, but we can all be better at being culturally aware. And if we're more culturally aware, and if we're more aware of gender differences, because there are, then we're all striving for equity, then we can together take advantage of those differences, right? Take it and leverage those differences. Leverages women's frame of mind, leverage a man's frame of mind when necessary. I used to always say this when I worked in manufacturing, when I was in recruiting and spent a lot of time in the manufacturing sector. I would spend a lot of time in these organizations, and I would never see women in leadership positions on the manufacturing floor, rarely ever. And it was always a question of why. You know, do we think a woman can't run a machine? Well, what does that really mean? And some of that again goes back to the previous question, and that is men being perceived as a dominant role. So it takes men to be proactive about making space at the table and developing opportunities for women as well.
Yes, I would definitely agree with both. I think definitely if you take money out of the situation, it would be a different point of view. Leadership does, I believe, come from passion. But like both of them were saying, it takes recognition, and then also there's more than one leader, and to understand that and to be open-minded with different cultures or different gender, and having a group of leaders at the table, I think is a great way to see different perspectives and bring different opinions, to light. And once we get different opinions, it's like trial and error. Everyone has their thought or beliefs on how things should be ran, but as long as different backgrounds of life come to the table, you get hit. You could cover more. And it's just been, historical to think that, leaders and who's supposed to be recognized as leaders is men, and men that grew up in the home where it's just passed down. Like, I don't believe leadership is passed down. I definitely believe like you need a passion for it, and it's just built within some people. But I think a great way to change some of that things or change the way it has been is to bring different leaders to the table, or different people that people look up to or respect to the table to, change to make a change.
So, excuse me. Let me ask what you expect from women, and could you accept direction from women? How would you feel about a woman as a boss?
Me personally, I think that more women should step up and look into the role of being a leader. I think that, in my personal opinion, I've talked to some people about this, but I think the leadership the true leadership may come from a woman. We haven't went to that figure yet. I would definitely take a woman as a boss. I don't look at gender. I don't look at anything. I just look at the person who's in the role and where they're going with it. But I feel like women should step up. I feel like they are more powerful than what many see. I also think that, just if they realize and recognize the power that they have, I think it would make the world definitely a different place, something that we may need. I think even in this country itself, that we need more passionate people and more people that's considerate and more, and not just, male dominant figures. That's just, I feel like it's time for a change. I feel like it's time for women leadership. I would definitely love to see it. Another thing that I also have talked about is that women draw and I take it as a bar's perspective. If you were to own a bar, you would kind of attend to women's needs to get women into the place. I mean, obviously, if women come into the place, it's going to bring men. Men are going to follow. But if you would make it towards more like a sports bar, you're only going to get a selected few women. I think that men would definitely follow I think we're getting out the generation where it's like women can't lead, and now it's the time where men would definitely follow along. Men would listen. I think even in the household growing up, you see the men kind of are running the household, but it takes the woman's knowledge to even talk the men into common sense, especially at times when we're really frustrated and things like that. So I believe that, I would love to see women stepping up in more positions of power.
Yeah. I was thinking about that question as Brandon was talking, and I was sitting here thinking to myself, in my career, how many women leaders have I really had? And quite honestly, most of the people that I've reported to in my career, that I've had to report up to, have been women, starting with my mama and my grandmother. Reported to them and still report to her. And so for me, and I want to get the perspective of the other two guests as well, but maybe because I was raised by a woman, I have a different respect for women. I don't see it that way. I guess I never thought of it that way. I don't think of it that way. But I've always believed that women should be in positions of power. It's never been abnormal to me to see women in positions of power, and I like it. I guess I'm a girl dad. I have two daughters, and so I've always been surrounded by strong women, and I'm okay with that. Like, that's okay. It shouldn't even be a thought. And so I guess my message is, don't think about it. To Brandon's point, find and mentor, follow, or surround yourself with the right humans, be it female, male, or other gender identities.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement with both of them. For me, I think that it's more of how you present your instructions, and being in a place of leadership. It's more of how you present your instructions and tasks, and the way you talk to people and the way you're perceived by people is a huge part of being in a leadership role. Gender doesn't matter, race, creed, sexual identity, none of that stuff matters. All that really matters to me personally is how you back and forth with a person.
How you build relationships.
I think that a female and authority figure would probably actually be a little better, because when you got a male authority figure over another male, 9 times out of 10 you're going to have that male dominance thing going on one level or another. And that's always going to create a little bit of tension. I mean, whether anybody likes to admit it or not, it's going to. It's our natural state, So I enjoy women in a power authority. I think that it's all about who you are and how you present yourself.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. And it's a pleasure to be in the company of gentlemen who understand that kind of give and take. I'm going to change just a little bit here and ask you about a challenge. Can you speak personally about something that has made you a better man, a better person?
I guess I'll start. I struggled with addiction for a lot of years. And something that has made me a stronger person is recovery. I'm part of a 12-step program. That community is so strong. It's not just about addiction, it's about mental health too. And I think that the whole mental health system needs to have a good look at as well, because it would help. It would create a better atmosphere, because a lot of stuff has to do with mental health, and I don't think it's talked about enough. So I think, that's what's made me a better person is, working a 12-step program and being in recovery. I'm a completely different person than I was 10 years ago.
Thank you for sharing that. Thanks for sharing with that, Brett. And we've talked about some of your leadership roles. Yes, some of the things that you've done as a leader. So how you step up. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead, Anthony or Brandon.
No, I was going to say, it's funny. So I'm a double amputee below the knee. I've been an amputee for 30 something years. I kind of lost count, but I never thought of it as something that probably made me a better person. But over the years, I think it has. I mean, it forced me to think differently sometimes about life, and forced me to, whether I believed it or not, to cherish just waking up, to cherish the ability to do things with your body physically. It challenged me to understand that we're all human. It's interesting. When I coached my kids growing up in basketball, my oldest daughter growing up in basketball, I remember having conversations with the kids, and I always would tell them, they're 11 or 12 years old. And, I would always tell them, something's going to happen. This isn't to scare you 12 kids, but by the time you get to high school, there's a chance that somebody down the alley that you don't even know is a far better basketball player than you, but they don't have the tennis shoes to be in here. They can't afford to be in this gym today, but they're going to be better than you. Maybe one of you may not be here today. Maybe one of you will have an artificial leg like me. Like, you didn't ask for that, right? I didn't ask to start having surgeries at 12 years old. But did it change me? Probably. Did it make me a stronger person? Probably. Like, people that have had tragedy happen to them or had traumatic things happen in their lives, you can live with it and suffer and whine about it, or you can be stronger. And I'm going to say that my amputations at such a young age made me stronger. So definitely, I think that's had an impact on my life, and probably maybe to some degree to a fault. My wife laughs about things that happen around the house when there's something happen. There's, maybe there's something painful that happens, and I don't see pain the same way that other people see pain. So maybe that's to a fault. But my point is, absolutely, I think that is something that probably had a major impact on my life. Well, I know it has physically, but I don't think about it a lot and try to, in this type of form, think about what it's done for me. But definitely.
I guess for me, what's been challenging in my life is probably honestly my passion. I have a strong passion to provide opportunities for those in need, whether it's youth or whether it's people of color and things like that. But my passion being so big, I know it put me in situations where I realized that, I'm losing out on things that I need for myself in life. And I just want to give my last to everyone and even go help out when it's needed. I think that's installed in me because of seeing my grandma give her last and things like that, which is probably why she's my role model. And even going through the obstacles that I have to face with the work I do, whether it's providing more opportunities for African American businesses. I know that a lot of times I'm in rooms or even indoors that people look upon me or feel like I'm a threat or anything like that. And I'm just here to pretty much make life easier for others. And whether it's doing this or going about it without, college degree or things like that, like others don't belong or don't believe I belong or deserve. So it makes it even more challenging to get the things that I need to get in order for these businesses to accomplish their goals or succeed. So that's a daily challenge, or whether it's with the youth to get them more involved and get more activities that they need or want to do. But of course, that comes with funding, and have to find the funding or have to turn people into believers, into the vision I see, into the vision that these kids see, that what we're trying to do and the goals that we're trying to make is definitely challenging when everyone else have everything else going on in their lives. And I tell people all the time, if this world was more open-minded, I think it could get a lot further. But it's kind of tough, especially when you're going through circumstances or anything that people face in their daily lives, that it's very challenging to be that passionate or to give.
Thank you for sharing that information. Well, I'm kind of caught here because we're running out of time, and I want to go in a different direction that would take some discussion. So be prepared with your final wrap-up statements, but I want to read something to you. According to dictionary.com, toxic masculinity is defined as a cultural concept of manliness that glorifies stoicism, strength, virility, and dominance, and is socially maladaptive or harmful. I think that we put a lot of pressure on men. And I'm going to read a couple of examples of things where men felt that they had to step up. So let's see, one gentleman says, I feel bad for saying I'm tired or sad. Another gentleman said, I feel bad about not caring for cars. You know, expectations of men, or about sports, getting crap for not caring about sports. I'm sorry, I just don't want to spend my time watching people run around in a field. And there are lots of examples like that.
Yeah,
How does that resonate with you?
definitely so. It's funny. I'm a crier. You know, it's funny. I cry. You know, I cry. I don't know. Huh?
Me too.
I'm a crying
Me
dude,
too.
right? So, but that's not manly, right? You're not supposed to cry. Like I cry a lot, you know. So it's kind of interesting, you know, when I think about that comment, because and again, I hate to always go back to being raised by my mama, but you know, maybe I've seen emotion in a different way, you know, strength in a different way too. But yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up, because
expectations.
one of the comments was being sensitive or submissive.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that, right? And I spent 15 years as a boxer, right? I grew up fighting for a living. Like I grew up as a boxer. My sport was fighting, but I'm not supposed to cry, right?
Or even watching women's sports. That was one of the mentions.
Oh no, I love all that, but I would definitely. I mean, that's why I even go back to being open-minded, because I mean, people are human beings at the end of the day. Women go through this too, with people think that they should be this certain way and they have to live up to the standards and things like that. It's just like, I mean, we're all humans. Like we do things differently. Some people like certain things, but we should all just be open-minded and look at who we are and what we do as far as us as an individual.
Yeah.
I think it all reverts back to, you know, that mental health thing, you know, that feeling of having to be that certain man. It creates so many issues and underlying issues that, you know, it hinders more than it helps. Like you know, that feeling of inadequacy is it's a tough one to get past.
So two of the other comments were watching certain movies / listening to certain songs, and another one, people would make fun of me for watching certain movies or listening to certain songs that I had a woman singing. I got to the point where I was so self-conscious.
Yeah.
So
I can relate to the songs, especially, man. I love all type of music, and even R&B, and they just assume that I'm supposed to just be this rap or anything. It's like I love country music and stuff, so it's like, I mean, I get what they're saying with that one.
that's good to hear. There's hope. There's hope. We have about 1 minute left, and so I'd like to ask each of you to maybe wrap it up and tell us maybe something that you've learned or something you would like to take away or something that you would like to share with our audience.
I just like to say acceptance. Accept everybody in your life for who they are. And if you can't do that, then maybe they don't need to be in your life.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Brett.
Seek out differences. Seek out people that don't look, sound, walk, and talk like you. That's okay. Like it's really okay to do that. Talk to more women. Look outside your box.
Yeah, like they were saying, I mean, definitely be open-minded. Just look at someone for who they are. And also, especially the message to women, definitely step up in these leadership roles. And even just people in general. I mean, there's things that needs to change and happen. So be that change, be that difference.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're going to end it here. And I'm so grateful to all three of you. I've learned a lot this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.